no one call me this is an omen. Because you know what? I have already actually, you know what? Demonstrated my perfect understanding that I'm not lesser than anyone who actually speaks both English and French. Let me actually compete with them to actually demonstrate my perfect qualification. This is something that I've never read before. Let me actually pick out anything and show you how quickly I can actually read any given sentence. After having shaken up by the representation of aesthetic in the sector, this, you know what, designated animation industry as an alternative would also be equally at the forefront of avant-garde track, which actually would make contribution to sort out the creatures of the socio-economic or nation as an epitome of disdain and witticism to pinpoint the public policy of the book. Utopia has once more is something that's on the plate to be taken over. So technically, du pain sur la planche, that means, you know, there is a bread on the plate. What does that mean? It's definitely something you should do as a work. Definitely the utopia is once more what's attracting one's mind, what's arresting one's attention as a mind-boggling issue or mind-numbing or mind-blowing, very interesting issue that you need to take care of. I don't really need to think about it. It's very easy. So, you know, if you can actually see there, j'ai encore du pain sur la planche. I have something to do. Excuse me, I have to go because I have a work to do. I have a certain things to figure out. Please leave me alone. You can actually say that. J'ai du pain sur la planche. Parce que je suis très... Je me suis très occupée avec les devoirs. C'est le pain sur la planche. I have something going on in my oven. You can actually see that. I'm not really lesser than them. The populistic strategy from the left appears particularly pertinent in the perspective of the exit from the crisis of the COVID-19, which were a prelude, the construction of the new social contract. This time, contrary to the crisis in 2008, this could possibly open up a space for confrontation between two opposing projects. A pure return and a simple and pure return to affairs underway, occurrent, at least, you know, appears a bit imaginable and conceivable. And the government definitely would probably play a role in time of the crisis to meet it with the crucial and a growing pressure. This is what it is about. You see it. I'm really fast. Excuse me. Yeah, it's really, really easy. Can I just actually try one thing from the... Excuse me, I feel so offended. This multiplication would be due to the weakening population of the Muslim during the wintry season connected to the climate change and global warming. This actually, you know what, somewhat weakens down the permanent snow in the Himalaya mountains by making the temperatures warm and tepid, by weakening the cold wind normally coming from the Tibetan Himalayan plateau that has truly brought about the reduction of the convection of the currents, normally favoring the plentiful fecundity and uprearing of the nutrients in the ocean of Oman, in the Oman Ocean. Yeah, in the Sea of Oman is a better, right? No, I would rather say that in the Sea of Oman. It's really the case. In the Sea of Oman. I rather actually wanted to say that in the Sea of Oman. That's a better. Because technically, you know, if you ever actually read an article, some people actually really want to avoid saying the Océan and l'Océan, yeah, Ocean. But the thing is, they just really wanted to actually say the mer is really the sea, la mer. It's actually, you know, starting with a la mer, it's really the sea. But, you know, it could be mutually interchangeable. In this case, I would definitely want to stick to the sea of ocean with no ambiguity. So, Noctiluca scintillans, which actually brings about the number of symbiotic relationships, truly actually permit itself to constitute the nutritious reserves benefiting from the new direction of the winds, even at the detrimental point of diatomy, by bringing out more of a plankton. At the base of the alimentary chain by multiplying and overpopulating the plankton. This is really the cause of maladjustment because the system is inundated with the sufficient nutrients to overpopulate the microorganisms like krill and plankton who would normally feed from this algae. Then this eventually opens up a door to the paucity of oxygen. And the deficiency of oxygen is something that would truly have the marine species deprived of nutrients. I'm not lying. I don't know. I don't want to do. Discover the black hole, the closest one from the solar system. Let's try to see that. Composed of 2 stars and 1 black hole, having 4.2 times greater mass than the Sun, the system HR 6819 gets itself found in the million light years. It's really easy. This looks really like an vaudeville. History of the couple with Thor Laren hidden underneath the roof. But this is really an astronomical transcription. The couple in question is composed of 2 stars situated in the telescope. One constellation visible since the hemisphere, especially from the southern hemisphere up until that point, nothing that goes palpitating. Because, you know, technically nothing that palpitates, you can say that, or nothing that goes palpitating. Because the way paved somehow devises itself to the binary system as it gets re-engorged. However, such a revelation that this international study reveals, published on Wednesday, 6th of May, in the Astronomy and Astrophysics. The analysis of the measures conducted by the spectrograph this instrument installed inside the telescope of 2.2 meters of the diameter that normally is used by the Observatoire, the European Observatoire, and Austral. This is really constellation Stellar. Laid down on the site of Chilean de la Silla has shown that something that was hidden in the duo so far mischievously, furtively lurking around so far, but that was never been in sight. One of the two stars at least seemed like dancing around or dancing a tango with its third object. At least they looked really close to dancing around. The third systems have been an incongruity. That means dichotomy in astronomy. Incongruity, that means there is, inconsistency. Also, the third party recognizes Alpha Centauri. That is not really a simple star, but it's a trio composed of the Alpha Centauri A and Alpha Centauri B, and the Proxima Centauri comes in 3 packages. It's a triple combo. This, closest star from the Sun, the boredom with HR 68119. This is really the third member that appeared to be nothing so far, that had never had any significance. One could have imagined that it was about the star close to neutrons. However, studying this orbiting routine of the partner, researchers have calculated a non-mysterious object that has a very imposing and heavy mass equivalent to 4.2 times of our sun, and this is too important to be done as a star of neutrons. It's not really electrons, but neutrons. It's not protons. It's neutrons. This represents that of the star with neutrons. Huh. Can I actually try one thing? Oh my gosh, what's going on? The work, repetitive work, is not something, the only particular thing that belongs to low-wage workers. The sportive of the high level, for instance, passes well with their career to repeat the same gestures or same management to develop altogether the very targeted competence. However, these efforts also procure a recognition on a social basis, which normally largely compensates for its monotony. This isn't really sportive activities that comes in a full repetition. Yeah. I don't really need to think about it. But that actually normally passes in their career. Different sports activities and all full different closures. That wouldn't normally pass well with their career by repeating the same gestures and same comportment and same motions or same proceedings in routine as if walking on the treadmill. That's what I was saying. You should actually say that. You can actually say the sportives, but you don't really need to say the sportives in a sense to repeat the sports. But it's really the same activities, same mundane efforts and activities that actually suit well with the events, that pass well with the events